All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sports Dom coming back with another video, and this is my Toronto Maple Leafs at Buffalo Sabres preview. So the Buffalo Sabres are coming off of a 6-1 loss to the worst team, not only in the Atlantic Division, but in the NHL. So now, the Buffalo Sabres, after losing 6-1 to the Montreal Canadiens, the Buffalo Sabres come in at 11-17-4, 11 straight losses, and the Toronto Maple Leafs come in at 20-10-2. And the owner failed to fire him up. Terry Pagula spoke to the team about, tried to fire him up just before the Montreal Canadiens game, told him that he believed in them and in the staff, the GM and the coach, and don't expect a big trade to come anytime soon. So he's going to stick with the core that he has, the youth movement. So we have to get behind these guys. Look, you can't blame this current team for 13 years of a drought. It's not these players' fault, okay? It's not Zucker's fault. It's not Tuck's fault. It's not Darlene's fault. It's not this team's fault. Listen, we have to get behind them. Otherwise, they're gonna want out of here. They're gonna say that, if the fans aren't coming to watch us play, why the hell should we play in Buffalo? If nobody's gonna be there, who the hell should we play for? So we have to get behind these kids. We have to back these kids. They're young. It's going to take time, especially with the way they were torn down and totally rebuilt from the ground up. That was Darcy Regier who did that. Before he left the Buffalo Sabres, he ripped this team to shreds. He's traded every good player they had, and left the new GM who took over after him with absolutely nothing. So now they had to try and rebuild this team. And Kevin Adams is right. This isn't a destination city. Nobody wants to come to Buffalo. Give any good player with a brain one reason to go to Buffalo, to pack their wife and kids up and move to Buffalo. What's there? In California, you got Disney. In Florida, you got Disney. In Buffalo, what do you have? What the fuck do you have in Buffalo that's going to give a player with a brain a reason to go there? What's there? What's there? A state that's going to take 4/4 of their money in taxes. So why would any good player go there? Why? When they're just going to get booed and people screaming fire their coach and fire their GM, the players aren't going to want to go through that. Players aren't going to want to hear that. Players aren't going to want to listen to that. You have a bad game. Jason Zucker said it too in a post game. This isn't a Buffalo Sabres thing. This is an NHL thing. Teams go through losing streaks. Look at Jason Zucker said he lost 14 in a row in Minneapolis, Minnesota with the Minneapolis Wild. So, it's not just a Buffalo Sabres thing. Look at the Rangers. Look at the New York Rangers. Look at the New York Islanders. This isn't a Buffalo Sabres problem. This is an NHL problem. Just Jason Zucker got it correct. 100% facts on that. So, you guys can't give up on this team because eventually kids are going to say, you know what, I want out. Darlene's going to demand a trade. Tuchel demanded trade Thompson, and then you guys want wins. If they start demanding trades because of the fans are going to run these players out of you. Then you'll never get wins. Okay, you will never get wins by demanding players to leave or GMs and coaches to leave. You'll never win like that. And I've been saying this. This team will never win again if they keep firing the head coach and GM every 2 years, because a coach tries to install his system, and then the fans say, nope, we don't want it, get them out. And then they have to try and learn a new system. And then the fans say, no, we don't want that, get them out. And then they have to try and learn a new system. No player is going to put up with that shit. No player is going to put up with that bullshit. And then the fans boo them, off the ice. Why would a player want to come to Buffalo and deal with that bullshit? That's just wrong. They're not. I wouldn't want to deal with that. You're trying to help a team, through its struggles, and then you're just going to get booed off the ice. No, fuck that shit. Any player with a brain, any good hockey player with a brain is telling their current team, don't send me to Buffalo. And we have to be patient and wait for these kids to develop and get out of this funk. And and I've heard season tickets holders say they're selling their tickets and be done. Well, if this team beats Toronto tonight and then they go on a winning streak, you guys are going to be hoping and praying that the person you sold your tickets to will sell them back. And I'd be like, nope, fuck that. You gave up on them. You're done. You are done. So if you're done, just be done and don't bother. See, this just goes to prove that Buffalo only supports this team when it's winning. Not when it's losing, not when it's struggles, not when it's, trying to work its way out. No, this Buffalo only supports their teams when they're winning. Now, if the Buffalo Bills went on a 6-7 game losing streak, the fans would be booing them. Oh, fire McDermott, fire Mc... No. No player wants to endure that. And it took the Bills 18 years, 17 years to break their playoff drought. The Sabres are going on 14, so it may take 3 more years to figure this out. But I think Lindy Ruff eventually is going to fix this. It might be too late. They might get on a winning streak too late. But they eventually do every year go on a winning streak. Last year, they had a winning record. Missed the playoffs, but they had a winning record. And then Lindy Ruff is trying to install his system, get them the way they want to, get them to play the way he wants them to play. And right now they're in a slump, but I think Lindy eventually is going to find that key piece and be like, you know what? We're going to go with this. This is working. We're going to start, once they get winning and beat a team like Toronto. And, that West Coast road trip, when they swept that West Coast road trip, guys, they were only 3 points out of first. So something happened after that road trip. I think that Colorado lost, and Paul Hamilton was right on the money with this. They blew a 4-0 lead, and that being so young, that messed with their mind, and they're not going to come out of that. And he was exactly right. But I think, once they get gelling, they've dealt with injuries, but once they get gelling, I think this team is going to figure it out. Maybe it took them dropping to last place to figure it out. They're not that far behind Montreal. They can get back up there and get their confidence back up, and start winning games. You're going to see these fucking bandwagon assholes jump back on the bandwagon. But, that just goes to prove that Buffalo only supports the team when it's winning. And, that's pretty shameful. That is pretty shameful. So, The lineup tonight looks like the first line is going to be Tage Thompson centering Alex Tuck and Jason Zucker. The second line is going to be Dylan Cousins centering John Jason Paterka and Jack Quinn. The third line is going to be Peyton Krebs centering Yuri Kulik and Zach Benson. And the fourth line is going to be Sam Lafferty centering Beck Malenstein and Nicholas Abe-Kubel. The defensive pairing, on the first pairing, it's going to be Bowen Byram and Rasmus Dahlin. On the second pairing, it's going to be Owen Power and Matthias Samuelsson. On the third pairing, it's going to be Connor Clifton and Dennis Gilbert, with the scratches being Jacob Bryson and Henry Jokiharju. And in goal, oh God, in goal is number 1, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Now, if they can get him playing, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen style goal, we've seen, him play at a high level. But I've said it, once he got that contract, he was going to go back to being, and he did. But if he can steal, a game like this, like this against Toronto, and they're going to be in their black and red goat heads tonight, and it's going to be a sea of blue and white. But if they can come out of this game, with the win, somehow steal, because it's going to be like an away game for the Buffalo Sabres. Even though it's at KeyBank Center, it's going to be 98-2 Leaf fans, It's going to be 98% Leaf fans to 2% Sabres fans, and that's... You don't do that to your home fucking team, especially a young team like this that can fuck with their psyche, And then tomorrow, they'll be at Boston, and then at the New York Islanders on Monday before returning home against the Chicago Blackhawks. So, we need to get on a winning streak. The Toronto Maple Leafs coming at 20-10-2. And they just beat us on Sunday. So if we can get sweet revenge and then go into Boston tomorrow, who are 17-3-4, and then somehow beat Boston, and then, go into the Islanders, who are 12-14-7, and beat them, and then beat Chicago at home, who are 12-19-2. We got some winnable games coming up to end this streak. They just need, to get their confidence back. They need to just calm down, relax. What rattles them, I think, is when they get behind. When they get behind, it seems that they kind of quit on themselves, and they can't do that. Somebody needs to go in there and just talk to these guys and say, look, we can get out of this. They're not out of the playoffs yet. If they can come back, and be 17-17-4, or keep it so they're not way out of, right now they're 6 games under 500. If they can get back to where they were when they were swept that West Coast road trip, they'll be just fine. They need to get their confidence back, though. They go to, after Chicago, they go to St. Louis and Dallas to end 2024 and to end December. If they can get back to that, they just, I think they just need their confidence back. Somebody needs to give them confidence. Terry Pegula tried to give them a vote of confidence. Told him he believes in this group. That don't expect, a big trade. I think a trade does need to happen, to fire them up. But they've tried that last year too, with Bo Byram, and it worked for a minute. But I don't think a trade is going to help them. Honestly, I think they just need to get their confidence back. Once they snap out of this and realize that they can get back to, beating teams. I think that they can do that. I mean, I think that on January 3rd, the rematch with Colorado, that I think too, especially if they beat them as well, I think they can get their confidence back, and you know, uh, they can go on a run. But up until that point, they need to get their confidence back and go into this rematch with Colorado on a winning streak. End December on a winning streak. They've lost 11 in a row. Toronto's going to be tough, and especially in Buffalo, we're going to hear the blow Leafs blow, and shit like that. They need to just block that out. Like Rob Ray said, don't listen to the crowd. Don't listen to the fans. Block that out. Be mentally strong. Right now, they're mentally weak. But, if they can somehow steal this game tonight and get back, to their winning ways, I think going into Boston tomorrow, yes, it's a back-to-back, but I think they'll go in with confidence and then go into Monday at New York, and then, next Friday, come home and beat Chicago. I think if they can go on a 4-game winning streak here, and go into St. Louis at 15, 17, and 4, because the Blues are 15, 16, and 3. But that's at the moment. But if we can go in there, even if we win 3 out of the next 4, but go in there on a streak, and then get ready for the rematch with Colorado and beat Colorado in Colorado. I think that once they realize that they can do this, they'll be okay. So guys, comment in the comment section below on what you think. And as always, if you like my videos, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a video. But stay tuned for my Toronto Maple Leafs at Buffalo Sabres post-game recap. Hopefully, I'm talking about a win. It's been a while since I've talked about a win. We're coming off of a 6-1 loss against the worst team in hockey. That may be what they needed to get their ass kicked by the last place team. And hopefully that fires them up. But something has to fire them up. Beat Toronto tonight, and then go into Boston and slap them around tomorrow night in their building. And they might be saying, hey, you know what, guys, we can do. We're not out of this yet. They are not mathematically eliminated yet. They're down, but they're not out. Let's pick ourselves back up, get some confidence, and let's go out there tonight and beat Toronto. We beat them last year 9-4. We know we can win. We can beat these guys. We know we can beat the Boston Bruins. We did it last year in their building. Okay, so end the losing streak tonight at 11. And let's get back on a winning streak. Go Sabres. Beat the Maple Leafs.